the hardest 4 years of my life. I am a mom of a child that has so many diagnoses that on most days, my head spins.
I don't doubt that her kid has health issues and that this can make her head spin. In fact, it's because of Katie that I feel I have a better understanding of this. Her earlier writing, where she documented her journey as a mom to a child with special needs, I find to be very informative. That being said, I find the rest of what she says in these videos to be exploitative of her son and other communities she mentions.
And I've never been more isolated, more discriminated against, and treated more terribly than I have in the last 4 years. My son has gone through so much. Children are looking at him and they think it's okay to mock him. Why? They think it's okay to mock him and call him the R word and call him names and say he's stupid.
I question her reasoning for experiencing this at its highest over the past 4 years. She has covered such treatment of her son in many blog posts through the years and never once blamed Trump. Also, her child being 8 years old, he's lived half of his life before Trump and half with Trump. The second half of his life would be where many issues would become more noticeable and when he would be introduced to peers outside of the home. There's never an excuse for treating a child so horribly. I'm just saying that this might not be Trump's fault. And I can't believe this chick has me defending Trump right now.
Do you know the high school that is near us? The day Trump was elected, there was the N-word plastered all over the school.
Though fucking horrible, what does that have to do with Katie? The whole community should feel affected by this and combat such ignorance. But how exactly was Katie victimized by this? And more importantly, if she was so affected by this, why is this the first time she's ever mentioned this in 4 years?
I have seen my neighbors, not right around me, but within this community, use the N-word and use horrific, terrible language against anyone that they feel is different than them because a president told them it was okay.
She lives in a predominantly white rural community. I'm pretty sure such language is not new, sadly. Again, this should not be tolerated ever. But how does this make Katie a victim, and why hasn't she mentioned this before?
And you know what? If I have to continue to lose subscribers because I'm standing up for my son and every single person out there that honestly did not deserve this behavior, so be it.
So, if she's losing subs for standing up against bigotry, does that mean she's gained her subs by being a bigot? I mean, think about it. If people are suddenly dropping her as their favorite content creator because she's standing up for the marginalized, then that would mean that people subbed to her because she wasn't doing this before. So that would mean her calling herself an advocate was in name only, right?
Today was a good day for my family. Today was a good day for my son. I don't have to worry about my son's medical, like someone trying to steal services from my child or steal insurance from my child or take away or penalize him for having a pre-existing condition.
Who is stealing her son's health insurance? She has said her son receives Medicaid to some degree due to health conditions. What I find interesting, though, is that the only thing possibly threatening her child's insurance would be her income. She's made the bulk of her income this year, meaning she hasn't had to claim it yet on income tax or disclose it to Medicaid. Judging by Minnesota income eligibility for Medicaid and by what Katie claims to have earned through Without a Crystal Ball, LLC, she may lose her son's Medicaid, or Minnesotacare as it's called. This is also a state program, not a federal one, so not sure how Trump threatened Minnesotacare. Again, though, if this was really her concern, then why isn't she pushing for universal health care like on the reg? The only other time she mentioned her son's health coverage was when she tried to play victim for her husband losing his job, blaming the job loss on the telecommunications company he worked for not wanting to pay such high medical bills, even though the insurance company pays the bills and the telecommunications company just pays the yearly premiums.
I have been fearing for my life for the last 9 months because of COVID. It is so out of control right now because people don't take it seriously and they deny science because our frickin' commander-in-chief acts like it's no big deal and it's like the flu and it's not.
Yeah, she looked so afraid for her life every time she went out for Botox, lip injections, makeup, to dine out, shopping, etc. I digress though. Look, I'm not faulting her for any of these outings. People still had to live life through this shit. But don't sit here and cry about fearing for your life, especially after she herself posted that COVID was like the flu, and even stated she believes she and her family already had COVID early this year, and even went as far as to say she believes they may have caught it from being near a Hmong community while at the hospital, because all Asians in the U.S. must be carrying COVID, right? I mean, that kind of sounds like something Trump would have said.
For education, my son's ability to go to school was a threat. We have heard hateful comments. He has been called the R word. He has been called terrible things in the last 4 years. Things that nobody said to us before this. I don't care if you are a politician, because I've never seen a politician act like this before. And
though such names are inexcusable, it's better than people throwing rocks at her kid, though, right? And does she think that no one is going to discriminate against her child now that there's a new president-elect? I think it's an important fact to remember that Trump didn't cause or create ableism, racism, sexism, or homophobia. These things all existed before Trump and sadly will continue to exist after Trump. What Trump did was normalize such views for those who harbored such hatred and made them comfortable enough to expose their views. I'm not defending Trump, mind you. I just want to be sure that blame is also applied to those who made their views known.
I don't care if you are mad at me because I somehow am standing up for my son and saying, listen, you know what? It's not okay for you to use the R word. It's not okay for you to say, literally, someone said to me, if your child needs special education, they shouldn't even go to school because it's too expensive.
That was a neighbor that said that to her, and it was about a year or more ago from what I remember. It was right around the same time that she lied about her pride flag being vandalized, or at least it was about that time that she spoke about this incident. And from what I recall, the neighbor did not say her son shouldn't go to school if he has special needs. The neighbor said that he should instead attend a school for those with special needs, albeit this may not be much better of a statement by her neighbor, but it's still different than what she is claiming presently.
When you have someone in the highest position of our government telling people that people that are less than them don't matter, it sends a terrible message. For 4 years, everyone who did not fit into the category of that person was under attack. So I just want to stand up as a mother of a child with a disability and say, thank you, America. Thank you for caring about my son. Thank you for caring about children with disabilities. Thank you for caring about women and children and men of color. Thank you for caring about the LGBTQ+. Thank you for not allowing hate.
Yes, America. Katie thanks you on behalf of every marginalized group in society. Be sure to tell Katie you're welcome and to thank her for her virtue signaling, because before the bad press she recently began receiving, she refused to even discuss politics on her platforms. The couple times she did mention politics, she mispronounced Ruth Bader Ginsburg's name and claimed Keith Ellison was sworn into Congress as the first Muslim by placing his hand on the Torah. For 4 years, she didn't seem to care about Trump, his policies, his lack of science knowledge, or his threat to health insurance. But now that she needs to improve her image, she's suddenly the spokesperson for all minorities and was somehow equally victimized by Trump for the past 4 years as a heterosexual, suburban, white woman with means to care for her child with special needs. So take her scolding, America, because you all deserve it for the hell she had to endure. It's like social media started questioning Katie on her actions, delusion, and lies against other creators, and in response, Katie said, "But I had to fear my son being harmed through insurance laws, and look how many racists we still have in the country since the election was so close, and this is causing me to lose subs." Though maybe not technically lying, it's also not what she gives a shit about, in my opinion.